You are tuned into the Richard Brown Show on WCOM LP, Chapel Hill and Carrboro, 103.5 FM. I am Richard Brown with my guest, Miss Gailes. Did I pronounce that right?
You got it right.
Man, last time I got it wrong. But anyway, we got it right this time.
That's right.
So we're going to stick with that. So before we talk with our guest today, I want to take a second and talk about the show. And then I want to mention something that's special for today. The Richard Brown Show is a space where we try to put positive images of African Americans out in the media, out in the blogosphere, out in the world. I want to dedicate the show today to a very special person. His name is Richard Watson. He passed just within the last 3 to 4 days. He's I think he was about 98 years old, I think. Don't get me quoted wrong on that. But I remember him when I was in college, and I remember it was at a point in time when I was looking for positive images, specifically of black men. He was there and helped. And for me, that's what this show is about. What you will find here is positive images of African Americans and others that are doing things in the community that are positive. And so I wanted to, number one, dedicate the show to him today. And I also wanted to introduce you to what the Richard Brown Show is all about. If you have questions or comments, you can send them to me at the website, richardbrownshow.com. So let's get with my guest today and let's kind of talk about the things that she has been doing within the small business arena. I want to thank you for coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me back. You know, it's been over a year, I think, since I was here last.
Real close to a year. Mm-hmm.
And I still get calls from that visit to your show.
Wow.
I still get prospects and clients out of it. So I want to thank you so much for what you're doing for my business.
Oh, good,
I'm really excited to be back on to give you an update about what's happening with me and some information also about what's happening in the world of small business in North Carolina and also for minorities.
Well, where should we start? You know, there's so much, you know, with the oil prices being what they are. I think there's still a lot of uncertainty in business world in general, but in small business as well. Where would you like to start? Do you start with the uncertainty, or do you start within the small business saying, what pieces do I need to control?
Well, first of all, I think there's always been a lot of uncertainty with small business. Small businesses have always had to be careful about how they spent their money. They've always worked with fewer resources. There's always been less of a guarantee than for large business. So the uncertainty in the marketplace right now is affecting small business, but it's not like a radical thing that's new. I think the people that are shaking in their shoes are probably the larger businesses where a 1% change in something is a lot of money for them.
Okay. Well, what do you see on the horizon that is very critical for small business? What do they need to be aware of? Because what I believe is that, well, there's a statistic that says that most small businesses fail within the first 5 years. And what I believe is not just small businesses, but it's those things that you're not focused on that usually kind of hit you over the head and be like, and then you lose your momentum and your business oftentimes fails. So what things should small businesses be worried about if they shouldn't be worried about oil prices or, you know?
Well, if you're in the trucking business and you have to ship things and that's a key part of your business, of course you need to be worried about oil prices because that's going to affect you. You may not be able to pass those costs on to your customer, so it's going to cut into your profits. I think though in general, small businesses fail because we don't go into business because we know how to run a business. We go into business because we know how to do the thing. We know how to run a mean pipe. We know how to bake something. We know how to paint something, to take pictures. We know how to do a radio show. That's why we go into business, and then we have to learn that management piece of the business. I think so many times we get so caught up doing the thing that we already know how to do that we don't focus on learning the management piece or getting people around us who can do that management piece. You hear it all the time. We focus so much on working in our business that we don't work on our business. So for small businesses, the key thing is to every now and then step back and make sure you're really thinking like a business owner.
Okay, what does that mean? That is, I think it's very, very true, but let's break that down to either something people can do on a daily basis or let's break that down to what does it look like? Because I know specifically with banks, they're looking for specific things. They're looking for profit and loss statements. They're looking for a balance sheet. They're looking for cash flow forecasts, which I would bet that many small businesses don't have. But we as small business owners need to be aware of these instruments, what they do and what they tell us about our business and the management of our business, the business that you're referring to. So talk about how we can put those pieces in place and what does it look like?
You know, it's amazing. North Carolina has done such a great job of creating an environment where small business can thrive because the state has provided a lot of resources for us. And I've learned this as a small business owner myself, coming out of a corporate environment where everything is right there. The company has provided everything. When I stepped out into my own business, I had to look around for other resources. And I'm here to tell you that North Carolina has done a pretty good job. We have 58 community colleges in the state, and each one of them has a small business center that's funded by the Small Business Administration. The workshops and seminars that are available at the Small Business Center are usually free because, of course, that's your tax dollars at work. We need to take advantage of those. There are business planning workshops, there are marketing workshops, there are accounting workshops, QuickBooks classes. A lot of them are free. If you look at in this area where you are physically located, you've got Durham Tech, Wake Tech, Central Carolina Community College that all have small business centers. Then there are other organizations that are funded by our tax dollars, like the Small Business Technology Development Centers that are in they're in the campuses of the 16 university systems. They tend to deal with people that are a little bit further along in their process, but still that's another resource for you. SCORE chapters. There are many SCORE chapters
Which
around
I know you're
North
working
Carolina.
with them.
Yes. I'm a volunteer with SCORE too. These people are typically, but not always, retired executives who have some experience in business, and they're free. They'll sit down with you and help you think through your business. So there are a lot of different resources out there that we can take advantage of in North Carolina, and I think the small business owner has to stop being the technician in their business. Stop taking calls and going out making appointments to do the plumbing or to paint the house. Carve out some time to go get some of that training and sit down with those people who can help you with the management piece of your business.
Talk about the fear, because I think that you're spot on. I also believe that we as small business owners have gotten to a place where we're comfortable, and it's interesting because there is a risk with being comfortable with where you are, the amount of money that you're making, the amount of business that you already have. In my mind, I'm starting to think about this as if I'm a shark. The sharks have to keep moving underwater or they die. And I think and it sounds kind of harsh, but I think as a small business, if you don't keep moving, your business is going to get left behind, either through technologies or through growth, or because the market is changing over time. Now, this is not something that's going to happen like right this second today, but you need to be preparing for it, either like on a daily basis, weekly basis, on some type of periodic basis, getting the classes, getting the tools necessary within your business to make sure that you can continue to grow your business. And I think that there's a whole lot of fear within a lot of small business owners about this new thing. It might be QuickBooks. You know, it might be some type of financial statements. It might be, I know, you may need some type of accounts receivable infrastructure, or for banks, you might need certain type of statements. And if you don't have those, you're like, I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah, and it goes back to recognizing that there's the technician part of you that knows how to do the thing that you can bill your customers for. And then there's the manager part that steps back and looks at the landscape of the business and says, this is what I need. You know, I need some processes over here. I need some more tools over here. I need to look at my budget. I need to invoice better. My receivables are late. I need to collect my money a little bit faster. We have to carve out some time to stop doing the thing and step back and be the manager. Now, when you talk about embracing change, you're talking about that entrepreneurial piece. We're all a little bit entrepreneurial, or we would never step out there in the first place and start a business. To the degree of entrepreneurial spirit in us varies, but that entrepreneur is the one that says, you see, over there on the horizon, this new thing is coming, and we need to be ready to embrace that. So every small business owner has to have a little piece of that entrepreneur and keep that person alive too. That's the creativity. That's the person who's looking at the horizon. You don't have to carry all this by yourself. You can surround yourself with people that can help you in that area. Other small business owners, consultants, people in these resources that I talked about earlier that can inject in you that information that you may be missing and help you stay focused on things that you're not aware of. In reality, we are never successful alone. We're successful when we surround ourselves with the right people and the right energy.
Let's talk about how you decide, is there a particular criteria? What I am coming to the conclusion is that in everything you do, what you can do is, you may not know what person's going to step up and be that partner or that person that comes in your business, but you can have a certain set of criteria that guides you in saying, by the person's actions, by the way in which you interact with them, yeah, that's the person. You know, there are plenty of people who are really, really good at selling stuff, and you get done with a meeting and say, wow, that's the person I really want to work with. But then when you look at that person objectively, it's not a good fit. Talk about how you develop that process, that internal process, to make sure, because you do need to have partnerships, you do need to have people in your business, but how do you develop that lens through which to find those individuals?
Well, the key thing is to know your business. If you know your business, not just what you're selling, but where you're going long term, the type of culture you're trying to create in your business, meaning what are the values of your business. If what's most important in your business that you have good customer service, that you want to have customers for a lifetime, then that's a certain value system. You have to find other people that embrace that value. So if you're working with a salesperson that wants to have the wham bam thank you ma'am approach to sales, once they get the sale, they're on to the next person and forget about that person and they'll never call them back. That's not consistent with your value system. So it all goes back to really knowing your business. And the way to know your business, we hear it all the time. Sounds like a broken record, but the way to know your business is really to do a business plan. And when you say do a business plan, people think, oh, here's a 40-page document that I will spend a lifetime creating and then stick it on the shelf and never use it again. But business plans take on all different shapes and sizes. You can have a business plan that's 1 page long. If all you need right now is to get your thoughts together and organize your goals and objectives and create something that you can measure against every week or every month, that's very simple. If you want to create a business, if you need to create a business plan because you're going to get some money from the bank or from another lending institution, that's a different document.
Right. Let's stop there, because I think a lot of people, when the only time they hear business plan is because they want to go to the bank to get working capital or to do some type of capital investment. So they want to buy a piece of equipment, and they need to buy, in order, because they've seen an opportunity, but you're talking about something that's a little different. Explain. Let's give an example. Let's say that it's a baker. Okay. And
actually, I'm working with the baker on business plan.
Good. I'm on it.
Okay.
We're working with a banker, and the banker doesn't have a business plan. Explain to that banker, no, those other bankers, because you already working with this bank. Explain to those other bankers.
You mean bakers or bankers?
Bakers.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Who's going to the banker?
Yes.
Okay.
About those two different business plans, so they can really, because I think that first one is very important that they have internally.
Yes.
And the second one is for the banker that you also need. They're both important.
They're both important. A lot of bakers will start with a home-based bakery. The artisan bread is very important now and very popular. We're all kind of going to artisan, meaning it's an art. You're doing it at home. It's all natural. It's not manufactured bread. That's very popular now, and there are a lot of people